Morning, everyone. Hope everyone is good. We started recording. Hope everyone got to rest yesterday. Welcome to week number 5. So we're more than a third done, which is exciting. Yeah, hope everyone is rested. So today we have a couple of announcements. First up, I really do hope everyone is rested. Second is we have a couple of people who have been ill recently. So I think Patrick will be reaching out on Slack, but I think for some people who have been ill or who have been otherwise detained, hopefully everyone is feeling better. We're sending you our thoughts and our wishes. Prosper will be reaching out with some news or information on that, but hoping that everyone is doing well. In terms of badges, well, first week 5, everyone has seen the challenge. While I get the list of who's won the different badges, hopefully everyone can see the week 5 the challenge that's up there. I think it's accessible. You see the schedule that's also posted online. So as same procedure as every week. So this week, for week number 3, the badges, we want to nominate the following people for the badges. So Ada for the most supportive in the community and noted for the consistent support to the community in many different ways. Natanan for the writing and presentation side of things. Really a beautifully comprehensive view of a report, and it was a really nice balance of extremely easy for anyone to understand but still full of content. And I think one thing that was really exceptionally well done was the integration, and probably the only person who was able to integrate who managed to integrate task 1.2 from week 3, if you remember, was nicely integrated into the overall presentation. So really an exceptional job there. It's very hard to write something which is simple and accessible, but still full of information. And so the badge for the writing and presentation goes to Natchanan for that. For visualization, Team Ethiopia. Babel, you're here. Do you want to say a word about the visualization and also the innovative approach?
Yeah, I think so. It was there, like the visualization they used is already in the code, but it was basically what was needed to know what is like the prediction. So whenever you plot, I think most people just plot it with the same color or with some kind of line plots that are kind of, it's very hard. You have to, like from the outside world who hasn't worked on that, you have to really read or understand. Even then, it's so hard to know what is going on. And what the Team Ethiopia used is exactly what in the paper has been used, which is basically just you will give for the future some kind of discontinuity, where up to that point is a training. And then from that on, you change the colors of the data. So they used it into the red points. And then on top of that, also they basically plot different scenarios. So instead of just separating them. So that was basically was in the paper, but really the most appropriate picture that you would have to kind of summarize all your analysis and your effort in one plot. So that was the thing. And as well, I think both the Ethiopian team and Patrick, as well as also the team Egypt, they kind of really get it one concept, which is you should modularize when you are trying to do a multiple scenarios, which is like you have the one case where you don't have any change point, and then you have 1 change point, 2 change points, 3 change points. These are all different models. And instead of writing them, copy everything, it was the simplest thing to do is just to write a function that just does that. And these 3 actually use that, but the rest, at least like most, I would say, haven't used that. And probably there was also a misunderstanding about what is prediction, like because people start running another MCMC for prediction, for evaluation. That was not what's needed. You produce a model, and then the model will just basically, you will use it to actually do also the validation as well as the test. So it wasn't necessary to do that. So that's why like the Team Ethiopia got the visualization aspect, because one plot summarized everything else. And then their prediction, they put it, I mean, also another additional point, then their predicted numbers, they put it into histograms in such a way that it kind of was easier to see. It's like numbers are nice. Sometimes histograms are good to give the kind of the perspective of the, how it's kind of changing. So that was the reason, the main reason, particularly the first reason, which is like summarizing your analysis in one or in a very appropriate plot. That such that it can be understood from one plot, basically. That was
Okay, and I think we've already talked about the innovative analysis. You mentioned that on Friday, is that right?
Yes. So yeah, I think it is definitely, I already went through and I projected it, and that was one of the excellent analysis people did. I mean, the team Egypt has put a lot of effort, a lot of understanding. On top of that, for me, the most important element was also that one of them, I think Emmanuel and others probably after that, I haven't checked after that, so I'm just only talking from the beginning. In the middle of the project, they went to the package, they opened an issue, a very good issue, which is like, these kind of optimizations, are they relevant for us to when we are working on a data that is different? So it kind of gets active. So it's kind of brings like yourself in terms of like, instead of just as a trainee, you kind of see yourself as a developer or as a kind of data scientist. So that kind of leaping, phase, leapfrogging in phase is a very important element in this scenario. So you have to always treat yourself like you are going to write a paper or you are going to do something, and therefore you kind of have to act in that spirit. And that was what is demonstrated. And Patrick, I think for the coach, like, was very, I think you should look at the code, like his, for example, like his notebooks, and you'll see what I mean. It's kind of, it is functional. That means a lot of things, all of the plots, whatever, are modular, so that it's defined in a function, and it's readable. And I think it's kind of, you will see it's kind of, now if I just distribute that notebook, you will have less question because it's self-explainable, modularized. So that was one of the really kind of like, even if within his team, I didn't realize that there was, I mean, it's kind of, so there was probably communication. It was also a personal effort, probably, but it would have been nice, like, for example, in the team, you guys had also discussed and learned that kind of modularization, because it would have helped the whole team. But I only saw his code having that kind of really modular, nice, clean effort. So yeah.
Yeah, Vibel, you mentioned something. I think it was just you and me talking last week that was the type of code that you expect from your team from your employees. Is that fair to say?
I
That
think so.
level
I
of
think I would absolutely, like, I would absolutely encourage and push people. I'm hoping that by, as weeks go, people start, and also because now we clearly outlined the points for functional and modular codes. That basically means that when you write something, you should just think like, even if it's like a pandas thing, you kind of like, if you have to do it over and over, it's better to just kind of put those sets into one function. That's what functions are used for. And that classes are used for, if you are kind of expecting some kind of a similar flow, then you just have to put those functions together in a class. And there is no point not to do them. They are not difficult at all. For me, it's like, it's not about being advanced and being basic. It's like anyone who's starting from just Python today should just start doing class and function. There's no distinction for me about, basic or advanced or intermediate. I think they're just a way of handling or a way of structuring your thoughts. So there's no, to have a good structure of your thought doesn't necessarily mean advanced. It just is like a good habit. So I think, yeah, that was one of the thing. If I had the code from Patrick, for example, or also I think the Ethiopian team, as well as the Ethiopian team also had functional code, as well as also Team Egypt, I would be very happy, just because then I know that that code can be used, can be extended for further kind of deployment, would be easier. And even as a notebook, if I share it, other people would be like, okay, great, they would understand the kind of the flow of the code, so they would come back less. So yes, I think that's one of the things that I would require. And for most of the codes, if I receive them, I would send it back to be rewritten, just because I need kind of really a flow, like in a code. Like I need to see just the flow in such a way that in the future, when we come back, it's not going to be another study. It's always like that. Just you write a code, you will come back to it at some point because someone asked a comment, or someone wants, okay, can we try this type of things? And then at that moment, if you have to really go back and then understand the code or change so much, then what is the point? You're just basically spending a lot of time. So that's not good. So I'm always, yeah, I always, and then I think we make it clear, and we will make it more clear That's what we're searching for. And you should be always thinking like to write a function and to put it in a class when it's appropriate. Even if when it's not appropriate, if you start writing functions in class, I'm happy.
Okay, great. Any other announcements that we want to make before we head into the stand-up?
So this week, I would say we really are, it's a lot again. But it's kind of a lot more in the line that you probably are more comfortable now. So a lot more coding. Like, so for those people who kind of are missing a lot of kind of the usual using scikit, doing kind of end-to-end like data analysis, data exploration, which is, by the way, in every company you go, it sounds very exciting to do modeling, but you will be spending 90% of your time really either in the database part, fetching the data, preparing the data, how you call the data, or putting it in the data. And then the other part, basically just trying to really find out what is essential. How do you do it? How are you going to answer the question? So which means basically like understanding the data, exploring the data, and just kind of having an idea about the data. It's called data understanding. And then kind of like seeing the patterns and kind of communicating those patterns. 90%, not exaggerating, 90% is that. And then there will be a moment where you'll be like, depending on, of course, how big the company is, then you will start like working on the part, on the kind of the modeling. That I would say is 1%. And then there will be another 9%. It's called, so these percentages are not really the same. So there is a saying, the last 5% is the same as 95% of the time. Sometimes there is that thing, deployment. So deployment basically just makes you a lot more, it's like really worrying about tiniest details because it doesn't work, because it needs to be automated, because it doesn't. So then there is this deployment. This week, we're going to do all. So we're going to start from exploration, data, whatever, understanding, to modeling, to deployment. All right, so it's a lot of work. So prepare yourself. It's not about having and finishing. And this week, I think we are going to be working on a group, unless I missed.
No, it's individual. It's individual this week.
It's individual.
I think we said, okay, so I would have really required, and I would be still like advocating to just make sure that we change to, because it's a lot of work. And I think no individual can probably arrive to the point. So therefore, like, let's just probably within us kind of like try to get into the group, because deployment part is quite I mean, I think students will be really able to do until the last part, but the deployment requires more time. And if they are in a group, that would be great. So, but let's not change anything. We're going an individual. We will just come back probably after this. So that deployment would be, there are a few alternatives. One is Tableau, and the other part is the
Heroku.
The Heroku deployment, which is for some, they have no idea even what Heroku is. And you need to get an account, but it's basically Flask. And so yes, great. Yeah, some people probably have experience, some people haven't. It's basically just a way of deploying your instance. It's kind of just you run another computer. It's on a cloud. And so you will use, so to deploy in a Heroku, you will use one of the Python's very sweet server. It's kind of Flask, and kind of you will have some. I think if you don't finish, I don't think that will be like, you have to break yourself to get everything done. But I would say just get familiar, know why is why is Flask there, how you use Flask, how you deploy your system. It's basically making dashboards. So prepare your mindset. It's about trying, not about finishing. It's about exposure and doing your best, because in a team or in a group, there will be other people handling different aspects of it, and it's a kind of a collective effort, because this is really one of the first week that you will start doing really end-to-end, like complete work. and the task is also very exciting. I'm sure all of you have seen it. So with that, I'll just let me stop, and then let's, if anyone has from our team, Arun, Shah, and others.
So just for the avoidance of doubt, so the task remains as described. If there's a change, we'll come back to you within the next hour. So please, there's no, in terms of group work or individual, let's, just for the avoidance of doubt, let's keep it as it is. We will communicate in the next hour if there's any change. Yeah, Jean?
No, I think you probably did. I don't have anything else to add. I think in a couple of hours, about 1 hour, yes, normally Emmanuel and I, and if Yavi is available, we'll have a talk with learners to like a question answer session on the challenge. So I think I will also try to explain them like the format and what I expected part by part. So I think so. Emmanuel will not be here because he's busy today, but I think I will manage. So there I will be on to question. Yes, so like prepare your question.
Great. Anyone else from the team? Usman, Sebastian, Abla, Mustafa.
I'll also be available during the Q&A session at 10, so I'll be happy to answer students' questions.
Okay. Usman, Mustafa, Abla, anything to add?
Good morning, guys. For me, so far, I don't have question. You have probably said all. So just to tell learners that welcome to this week 5. Looking forward to like receiving your questions or any issues that you may have during the challenge and something like that. So thank you.
Okay. All right, so stand up. Let's, I'm not sure if we're going to use the code, if we're going to do recommendations.
No, I think, yeah.
We have the
Hello,
code, so
can you hear me?
if the yeah.
Hi, Abla.
Hi. What I'd like to say is that maybe just learn from your past weeks, your past challenges. So have been coping with finishing every questions. So I think you need to make most of the questions and try to answer them thoroughly as much as you can. Is going to be very helpful for the remaining questions. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Okay, thanks. All right, so let's, while we're running the code, does somebody want to jump in and go first? Let's see who's first while we're running the code.
Hello.
Hi, Elfuru.
Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. First of all, I would like to appreciate the 10 Academy team for this opportunity. We're already in week 5. We are like 1 month old in this fellowship, kind of, and it's actually fine. Last week was quite challenging because of lights and stuff, but like Aaron said, we don't need to just complain. We need to look for ways to solve our problems before we complain. So last week I had a lot of challenges with light and everything. And I wanted to reach out to Aaron before, like, I might not be able to finish this. But I remember the article that Aaron shared, I think a Twitter post, where one of the writers stated the people that don't complain, you understand, people that just try to do something with limited resources. So when I look at it, I was like, wow, let me still do something without even complaining. So I think I started my weekly challenge on Friday, and I was able to submit. I submitted late yesterday, but at least I still finished everything. I completed everything and documented everything. So I would like to appreciate Aaron for sharing that, and also I'd like to appreciate all our tutors, Abla, Jean, Usman, and everyone, Sebastian, Yebaba, for all the help. And also I would like to appreciate Yebaba for comment, like today's comments and everything. And you understand, we are just learning. I've been learning a lot. And I believe this week too, I'm actually excited because it's another field again that I would love to explore. Talking about flags and a lot of stuff and all the things I will need to learn this week. Like I'm actually very excited, and I believe by the end of this training, I will be 10 times better than all my mates. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks. Glory Odiemi? Odiemi? It's Glory, yeah, Glory's here. Glory's holding a panda in her picture. Okay, if she can't connect, then we'll go to Nabil. Is Nabil here? Okay, we'll go to Abu Bakr Alaro.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So first of all, I want to say thank you very much to the 10 Academy team. It's been a wonderful experience since the start up until this moment, and I keep improving, keep growing every day. I've gone through this week's challenge. It's a lot of fun and interesting, and I hope I will not have much of blockers like I did last week, and I'm sure I should have something solid at the end of the week. So thank you very much.
All right, super. Next up is Segun. Oluwa Segun.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. So for me, I just want to say thank you to the team. It has been like 5 weeks have been like awesome. Being in the 5th week now, is looking back at the beginning and then see what I can do now. I'm just grateful. I also want to say thank you to Arun for the encouragement last week. I was ill since Wednesday. Tried to work with it, but it was not working out. So yes, I feel better today. And I want to say thank you to Lipra also. He called me and he encouraged me, and I'm very grateful. So for this week, I looked at the challenge yesterday, and I don't know why it looks so fun to me. It's like something that would really bring out like everything in me, and I really look forward to starting early, like pretty early. So I'm going to like do a lot of research just after the stand up, and I hope that I can really like do something really tangible this week. So thank you. That's it for me.
All right, thanks. Apparently Oluwa Segun is a billionaire, which is great to know. We'd be happy to get donations from you, Segun. John Latome.
Hello, morning.
Hi, John.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Every week, I think it presents a unique challenge, the same as this week. There's usually a lot to learn. I've gone through the this week challenge. There's a lot to learn with, I think, sometimes limited time, but in the end product is usually something that's admirable. So I'm looking forward to the end of the week to see what I would have achieved by then. Have a blessed week.
Okay, thank you. We have Anastasia Kiru.
So good morning to everyone.
Morning.
Okay, so this week for me it was okay. The weekend mostly was almost like a wake-up call for me. I feel like I need to get back to my drawing board because personally I feel like I've been going down since week 1. I had more energy during the pre-training, and I don't feel like I have the same energy. So this weekend was more of going back to the drawing board for me, and this week I planning to do a different approach in how I do my assignments. And as a result, I've already gone through this week's challenge. I see there's a lot to be learned this week, and there's also a lot to be learned. I don't know so much, but I'm willing to start from Monday. I know last week I started from Friday. This week I'm willing to start from Monday so that I can do my best, learn a lot, and also submit on time. Yeah, so that's my plan for this week.
All right, super. Thanks for sharing. Biniam?
Okay, good morning, guys.
Morning.
So I just want to start with what I did yesterday. Last week was very tough, so I needed to have a break to have a rest. So I tried to use my time yesterday. I did some cooking. I went out with friends. I saw movies. So I had a good rest, and I'm ready for this week. Uh, so what I learned from last week is not all days are equally productive. For example, I had so much energy on Monday and Tuesday, but on Wednesday, I couldn't understand the classical A/B testing, so it got really boring. I didn't do anything the whole day on Wednesday. On Thursday, I got back to it and it got better. And on Friday and Saturday was very productive because I decided to just drop the classical A/B testing and move on to the machine learning. The machine learning part was very fun. It was fun. It's not like the A/B testing. So that's it. But after all, I was able to do both of them. I also went for some badges. You'll see when you grade my works. So I recommend everyone should do the same. Just as long as you're doing this, just try to aim to get some badges. Just do some things different. And for this week, I saw the challenge. It seems interesting. Even it's getting there. Like when you think about machine learning and doing predictions and stuff, we're getting there, so it's getting exciting for me. I'm looking forward to complete it, and thank you guys so much. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Biniam, and thanks, Glory, for putting your response in the chat window. We'll have to save it for the CBA to find out how to cook like Biniam cooks. We can get the badge of the chef. Wamuyu? Is Wamuyu here? No, don't see Wamuyu here. Okay, and last up is Gabanga Jayola. Jayola's here. I think I'm going to get the badge for the worst pronunciation of everyone's name. So I'm happy there's no badge for that.
I don't think you will be the only one. There has to be more.
Aaron, believe me, you are not pronouncing the Nigerian names very well.
I know. I need a tutorial from you, Osman, on how to do that. Your name, I think I can manage, but some other ones are, are difficult. All right. So does anyone else want to speak before we wrap up? Anyone else from the community wants to present their last week and plans for this week?
Nahum? Go on, Nahum.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to say that last week's challenge was a bit of a deceiver, to be honest. It deceived us in such a way that it looked extremely simple at first, but proved out to be somewhat challenging in the days in the middle. But at first, everything was going well, and classical A/B testing was also great for me. It didn't take much time for me, but the problem came with sequential testing. I mean, the code that Ababao sent and the paper attached to it was really exciting, and there was an urge to deeply understand it completely. But that wasn't a good move, to be honest. I wasted something like 2 days trying to understand it, and I just couldn't make the decision of leaving it as it is and move on to machine learning, which was relatively quite simpler than sequential testing. So I wasted 2 days without much of a gain on sequential testing, and that was a bad move. So my suggestion for everyone else here, don't get too attached to just one particular task. If it does not connect to the coming task or to the next task, just leave it as it is and just proceed, and you'll come back to it when the time is right. So even though I wasted something like 2 days reading it, I finally made the decision to move on to machine learning. And I can say that I compensated for the wasted time by putting in some extra working hours at the expense of my bedtime. So at the end, I think I've done a great job, but it was intense final moments. So I'm not going to make the same mistake again. So that's just about it. Thank you.
Great. Hey, it's really good to hear everyone's feedback and how people are learning not only the techniques, but also how to be this sort of work readiness, career skills, deciding when to put something away, how to prioritize, how to use time and energy. All of these are really, really important. In many ways, almost more or equally important to the actual content. So that's great to hear. Thank you everyone for your honest reflections.
Absolutely, I think it's really great, and it's a continuous learning. I don't think it will stop. This exactly same reflections will stop after 12 weeks or after even 10 years. I think you will still have to update and kind of tweak them, and you know how to balance between this, when to leave something and go to the next, but and when to insist. These are really life, and you know, like what really distinguishes people sometimes, and so it's kind of very good to hear. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. I think there's a request for Patrick to speak.
Yeah.
So maybe we can end off with Patrick. Patrick's very, everyone missed you here, Patrick. So let's hear from you, and then we'll wrap up the stand-up. Patrick Ojunde, are you there? Can you hear us?
Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Morning, Patrick.
Yeah. Last week was very funny and tough, but thank God I'm much better. I was hospitalized for some days. I tried to work on the task, but as I was just looking at the task, I was feeling dizzy at the same time. So I just had to prioritize my health. And then I learned a big lesson last week too, that as much as work is important, it's good to take care of oneself, and quality of life is also important, because the quality of life also reflects in the quality of work. So I'm looking forward to balancing work and um, how how I take care of myself and other stuff. It was good. Yes, I missed on completing my tasks, which I felt bad about it. But on the other hand, it was a moment of reflection for me. I was able to reflect on some other things and how I intend to perform better in other areas. I really want to appreciate everybody who reached out to me personally and as a group. I want to also appreciate Arun for his help in helping me catch up with Week 4, and Yababel too, and all the tutors, and some of my friends who reach out to me personally via call and even on Slack, even on WhatsApp. For some days, I'm sorry I couldn't pick some calls. I wasn't with my phone. My phone had to be seized from even my laptop, because I was trying to work at the same time receiving medications. But I'm back. I'm better. I'm fully on track now, and I look forward to a great time again with Academy. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Patrick. It's good to have you back with us. Yeah, thank you, everyone. There was a question from Anastasia about the one-on-one meetings. We're going to schedule them this week. Ken, sorry, I think I missed you. Ken, do you want to speak, and then we'll really wrap up?
Okay. That's okay. Sorry.
I think everything I wanted to say was said by Nahom. But mine is just a suggestion, probably. Like probably after the challenge, can we have like probably a separate notebook where the tutors show us how they would have tackled the same problem, with also maybe a report that can also help some of us how to like probably think through things, because at least you see an expert doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think, Isabel. I think we've asked everyone to put their GitHub links in their Slack profiles so that you could follow some of the different solutions. I don't know if there's any one perfect solution to any problem, but
I mean, I think the suggestion is what we are doing in the tutorials, and I think we can definitely improve. That's not reflective. Is that the tutorials are supposed to reflect exactly how we tackle, instead of like teaching training thing, more like how like that tutor would do certain part of that task, based on their experience. So certainly that's what I try to always just give whenever I give, is more to just exactly demonstrate how I would tackle, so that you can exactly learn from, like, not just as a training, but more like, okay, you will just see, like, you just go and then you share codes. So even the starter codes are not really just a starter code to help as a training, but really how Ababao did. Basically, just he shared what he did. So in some way, it's exactly that. And even the structures that he followed, it's exactly what is in the code, or now, that he used for the company, right? So we try to do that. So whatever you receive from us, the notebooks and stuff, is how we do it. Mostly. But we can definitely improve. We will have internal calls just to make sure that is the case.
Okay. All right.
And welcome back, Patrick. And I'm really happy that you felt better, and really good that, and everyone just, make sure that you are healthy. There's no work if you are not healthy. So really, I'm happy that you are back fully, and you are.
Temilade is also off for the first couple of days this week. She's also fallen a little bit ill, but Prosper will make an announcement about that. So let's keep her in our thoughts as well.
Great.
Okay. So just if there are any changes to the announcement, to the assignment, please keep in mind we'll make an announcement, but otherwise we proceed as per the currently posted assignment. All right, have a great week ahead, everyone.